Caitlyn Jenner was voted Woman of the Year. Her first year as a woman. Ain't that something? B in Detroit, she's better than all of you. Never even had a period. Ain't that something?
That sound you just heard? That was Dave Chappelle absolutely slamming another woke mob with nothing but a microphone and common sense. These entitled rainbow-haired cancel crusaders thought they could take on a comedy legend. But Chappelle clearly doesn't hold back.
But you see, what I didn't realize at the time and what Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people.
Yeah, Dave said it. The alphabet people, aka the LGBTQIA plus community. In a world where saying good morning might get you canceled for assuming someone's awake, one man refuses to bend the knee.
I'd say the letters, but I don't want to conjure their anger. It's too late now. I'm talking about them L's and them B's and them G's and the T's. T's hate my guts. And I don't blame them. It's not their fault, it's mine. I can't stop telling jokes about these niggas.
Dave Chappelle isn't just a comedian. He's a one-man wrecking crew dismantling the church of wokeness one punchline at a time. And let's be honest, it's glorious.
I feel bad for T's, but they're so confusing. And it's not all my fault. I feel like they need to take some responsibility for my jokes. Because I didn't come up with this idea on my own. This idea that a person can be born in the wrong body. But they have to admit that's his predicament.
Today, we're diving into the funniest, sharpest, most savage moments where Chappelle destroys the fragile feelings of the permanently offended. From identity politics to political correctness, Dave doesn't hold back, and thank God for that. They tried to cancel him, the greatest comedian alive. Netflix employees threw tantrums and walked out. Twitter exploded, and the media? Oh, they declared his career dead on arrival. But guess what? Dave didn't flinch.
But I can't say the word. And she said, because, David, you are not gay. I said, well, Renee, I'm not either.
The moment he hit that next stage, everything changed. Because Dave Chappelle isn't just some comic with a mic, he's a cultural phenomenon. This is the same man who walked away from a $50 million deal because he wouldn't sell his integrity for a paycheck. That tells you everything you need to know about the man behind the mic. So when he decided to take on woke culture, you knew it wasn't going to be just a joke. It was going to be a statement. And oh boy, did he deliver.
He says, I'm doing a movie with Jim Carrey. Do you want to meet him? And I said, yes, I do. And it was the first time I could remember since my father died being excited. And the movie was called Man on the Moon. I didn't know any of this. And in this movie, Jim Carrey was playing another comedian I admired, the late, great Andy Kaufman. Yes, and Jim Carrey was so immersed in that role that from the moment he woke up to the time he went to bed at night, he would live his life as Andy Kaufman. I didn't know that. When they said cut, this thing was still.
Imagine calling your idol by the wrong name while he's pretending to be someone else. 4D awkwardness unlocked. Dave was probably thinking, did I just walk into a live audition for multiple personalities disorder? Plot twist. This wasn't about Jim Carrey at all. It was a setup for cultural warfare. It all kicked off with his Netflix special, The Closer. Chappelle opened with what sounded like a harmless story, meeting Jim Carrey on the set of Man on the Moon. Carey was so deep into his role as Andy Kaufman, he refused to drop the act. Chappelle, a die-hard Jim Carrey fan, showed up excited to meet his comedy hero, but ended up stuck with Andy Kaufman instead. That story? It wasn't just a quirky Hollywood anecdote. It was the setup for one of the most talked about punchlines in recent comedy history. That's how trans people make me feel. 7 words, one cultural explosion. Social media lost its mind. Netflix employees staged walkouts. Activists called for the special to be pulled. Opinion pieces flooded the internet, slamming Chappelle and labeling his joke as hate speech. But instead of backing off, he did the unexpected. He leaned in even harder. In his follow-up appearances, Chappelle unpacked a deeper point, that in today's culture, people often mistake feeling uncomfortable for being genuinely harmed.
You know who hates me the most? The transgender community. I didn't realize how bad it was. I was really mad about that last Netflix special. It's tough, man. I don't know what to do about it because I like them. I always have. Never had a problem with them. Around. As a matter of fact, I think I make fun of everybody, and as a group of people, they have to admit, it's kind of hilarious, man. I'm sorry, bro. It's like, I've never seen somebody in such a hilarious predicament not have a sense of humor about it. They're born feeling like there's something other than they're born as, and that's kind of funny,
He's speaking nothing but the truth. Some people are just clearly too easily offended. And fellow comedian Ricky Gervais perfectly explained his take on this topic as well.
That's the thing about offense, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, It's... offense is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? So you can't second-guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that. But, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing.
That line struck a chord. With fans, with fellow comedians, and with anyone tired of tiptoeing through cancel culture. Remember this one?
The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people.
Chappelle's take on what he famously calls the alphabet people hit a nerve. He pointed out that the LGBTQ+ community isn't one big happy family, but more like a bunch of different letters crammed into the same car, each with their own direction, priorities, and agenda.
You hear all those letters together all the time, LBGT, and you think it's just one big movement. It's not. All those letters are their own movement. They just travel in the same car together.
It was a bold observation that cut through the usual talking points, exposing the messy, uncomfortable truth about identity politics that most people avoid talking about.
People be surprised. I have friends, all kinds of letters. Everybody loves me, and I love everybody. I got friends who are L's, I got friends who are B's, and I got friends who are G's.
What makes Chappelle's style so powerful isn't just the jokes, it's the storytelling. He doesn't throw out punchlines for cheap laughs. He builds narratives that pull you in, disarm you, and then drop truths that make you pause and think.
Like think about it. Okay, say LeBron James changed his gender. You know what I mean? Okay, can he stay in the NBA, or, because he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA where he will score 840 points a game?
Take his bit about LeBron James hypothetically switching genders. Sure, it might sound offensive at first, but scratch beneath the surface, and you'll see that he's digging into the uncomfortable truth about fairness in women's sports. The kind of truth no one in the mainstream has the guts to say out loud.
What does it actually mean to be equal? You know what I mean? Like, if women are actually equal to men, then there would be no WNBA, would there? You would just be good enough to play in the NBA with us. Or, here's another idea that's gonna be very controversial. You could shut the up.
What sets Chappelle apart is his talent for digging into the messy, complicated stuff, and still finding a way to make it funny. Let's see his take on Rachel Dolezal and her identity crisis.
It's like that white that's in the news all the time. Rachel Dolezal. She's a white woman, but then she dressed up like shot her way up to the very top of blackness. And I always wanted to meet her just so I could understand. I just wanted to like have dinner with her so I could just look in her eyes and call her to her face. The fuck is that talking about? I identify black. That is trans talk, lady. Stop biting. Stop biting.
Dave really hit her with, get your own genre of identity crisis. He may not fully grasp either experience, but he recognizes the major difference between someone simply claiming an identity and those who go through life-changing steps to truly live as one.
There's a big difference between her and a trans. The difference between her and a trans is I believe transgenders. I don't understand them either, but I know they mean what they say. Them niggas cut their dicks off. That's all the proof I need. I've never seen somebody just throw their dick away. Don't need it. I don't understand, but I believe you and I support your decision. But how far is Rachel willing to go?
Say what you want, but that's commitment. Rachel just bought a weave and called it a movement.
What is Rachel willing to do so that we blacks can believe that she believes she's actually one of us? Are you willing to put a lien on your house? Invest in a mixtape that probably won't work out?
This distinction shows Chappelle's knack for critical thinking without losing his comedic edge. His critics often miss the bigger picture. He's not targeting a specific group. He's challenging a culture that demands total acceptance while shutting down honest conversation. As he puts it, I don't understand all of this, but that doesn't mean I have to be angry about it. It's a far more nuanced take than most people give him credit for.
Are you surprised though by the criticism that's come your way?
No, and I don't mind that people get upset. Some of this criticism, like, is helpful. Like, I get educated by it. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but I learn about a lot of things.
Mainstream media tried to label him as bigoted, but they missed the core of his message. Respect doesn't mean comedy has to be off limits. If anything, being able to laugh together is often the first real step toward understanding.
Now, I'm gonna be real for a second. You gotta understand, I never feel bad about anything I say up here.
This idea has been a constant through his entire career, from Chappelle's show to his latest specials. What really rattled woke culture wasn't just the jokes. It was Chappelle's refusal to back down. When challenged, he didn't flinch. He said, "I'm not saying these things to be mean. I'm saying them because they're funny. And if you can't see that, maybe the problem isn't the joke." That no apologies attitude quickly became a blueprint for others navigating the same outrage machine.
I feel bad for teas, but they're so confusing. And it's not all my fault. I feel like they need to take some responsibility for my jokes. Because I didn't come up with this idea on my own. This idea that a person can be born in the wrong body. But they have to admit, that's a hilarious predicament. That wouldn't be funny if it happened to me? I think it would be. What if it did? What if I was Chinese, but born in this body? That's not funny.
Drawing from his own experience as a black man in America, he flips the script, calling out the absurd race to the bottom, where everyone's desperate to be the most oppressed. He dares to suggest the unthinkable. Maybe we're all struggling in different ways, and weaponizing victimhood isn't helping anyone. And just like that, he slices right through the nonsense at the core of today's social justice circus.
And for the rest of my life, I had to go around making that face. Hey, everybody, I'm Chinese! And everyone get mad. Stop making that face. That's offensive. What? This is how I feel inside.
His approach to controversy isn't reckless. It's masterfully designed to expose the cracks in woke logic. He starts with something that sounds ridiculous on purpose, then slowly peels it back to expose uncomfortable truths. Take his bit about identifying as Chinese while being in a black body. It's not just shock humor, it's a smart jab at the madness of identity politics. And the backlash? It proved his point flawlessly. Suddenly, people who'd never watched a full special were self-declared experts on his intentions. Clips ripped out of context, outrage headlines everywhere, and Twitter doing what it does best, losing its mind without understanding a thing.
The G's are driving that car. That makes sense to me, because there's white men in the G's. And these people... In fact, we built these roads. The rest of you buckle up, we'll get you to where you want to go. So the G's are just driving the car. Of course, next to the G's in the passenger seat is the L's. Everybody likes the L's, except for the G's. I don't know what that's about. I just know the G's don't like them that much. And the G's always say like little subliminal digs on them. It's unnecessary shit. It's not mean, but you know what I mean? They just be like, I wouldn't wear that.
Here's what really makes Chappelle a nightmare for woke culture. He's uncancelable. His fans ride or die. His reach, massive. And worst of all, for the outrage mob, his arguments actually make sense. The second you stop rage scrolling and listen, the outrage starts to crumble.
These were dangerous waters, and Chappelle dove in head first.
And that's what makes him different. He was the first guy to understand that nobody likes cancel culture.
He stood up and said things that were controversial, and he wasn't afraid of being canceled.
How is Dave viewed with the modern comic? They love him because he was the first big name to take this fight head on. Comics owe him a debt of gratitude because there's a lot of big name comics who weren't willing to fight that battle. Chappelle was the right guy to put a foot down to cancel culture. You know, everyone else was bending the knee. He bent the middle finger.
Chappelle's impact goes way beyond stand-up. He's become a voice for everyone sick of walking on eggshells. By fearlessly diving into taboo territory, he's given other comedians the green light to grow a spine too. And that ripple effect? It's slowly changing the way we talk about the things the woke crowd tried to make untouchable.
If it's one thing that the L's and the G's agree on, is that the B's are... And sitting next to the B's, all the way in the back seat by themselves, looking out the window. That's the T's. Everybody in the car respects the T's, but everyone also resents the T's. It's not the T's' fault, but everyone in the car just feels like the T's are making the trip take longer. Anything the T's say gets on everybody's nerves. And then the T's don't even say anything bad. They just be in the back talking to themselves. I'm hot. Shut up. Shut up, okay? Just roll the window down. I don't know what you... What? Just said I was hot. Could you pull over at the next exit? I need to use the restroom. There is not a restroom for you for 4 states, nigga. Will you just shut the so we can get where we're going?
Chappelle highlights the hypocrisy of companies cashing in on social justice trends without lifting a finger to fix the issues they're capitalizing on. This goes hand in hand with his roast of Hollywood's fake outrage and phony activism. When it comes to cancel culture, the guy doesn't hold back.
When a hero stumbles, both cowards rejoice. Nothing feels better to a coward than to watch a brave guy fall.
He says the real issue isn't people saying offensive things. It's that some folks want to shut down anyone who doesn't parrot their exact opinions. If you don't say the magic words, boom, you're canceled.
And they've canceled people that are more powerful than me. They canceled J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. She sold so many books, the Bible worries about her. And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and this is not exactly what she said, but effectually, she said that gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad as shit. They started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what the was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments. So I looked it up. TERF is an acronym. Stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. This is a real thing. This is a group of women that hate transgender. They don't hate transgender women, but they look at trans women the way we blacks might look at blackface. It offends them. Like, ooh, this doing an impression of me.
He points out the bossy, almost authoritarian vibes creeping into today's progressive movements. But here's what a lot of people miss about Chappelle. His goal isn't to offend just for laughs. He's trying to spark real conversations through comedy. His jokes open the door to tough topics like race, gender, and power, turning laughter into something deeper. And by refusing to back down or water things down, he's helped keep comedy a place where bold, risky ideas can still live. Of course, that's made him both a villain and a legend, depending on who you ask. After his Netflix specials dropped, the internet lost its mind. Twitter tantrums, angry think pieces, the whole 9 yards. But meanwhile, his ticket sales, through the roof. That gap between online outrage and real-world support showed one thing loud and clear. Cancel culture isn't as powerful as it pretends to be.
I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is true. These transgenders, these want me dead. I've gone too far, I've said too much. And I gotta tell you, I'm very worried about it. I'm not even joking. Every time I come out on stage, I be scared. I be looking around the crowd, searching for knuckles and Adam's apples to see where the threats might be coming from.
And that brings us to maybe Chappelle's biggest achievement, proving that you can talk about sensitive issues while still being funny and thoughtful. His comedy shows that cracking jokes and making people think don't have to be opposites, even when the topic is super controversial. He's like the philosopher king of comedy, dropping truth bombs wrapped in punchlines. His clash with woke culture isn't just about getting laughs. It's about defending the freedom to speak your mind in a world that's getting a little too eager to shut people up. So, what do you think about comedy and freedom of speech? Are things going too far nowadays? And if you liked watching Dave Chappelle call out the madness, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. We've got plenty more unfiltered takes from comedians who aren't afraid to say what everyone else is thinking. Catch you in the next one.